I'm hoping everyone can hear me okay. I'm going to get started with today's webinar. I would like to apologize about one thing. My hair is a little crazy. It's very hard to get haircuts right now because of the quarantine and the shutdown, so I apologize. Also, it is very hot in this room. Gosh. All right, so today we're talking about phonics. I just wanted to say hello to everybody. Here in Wisconsin, it is springtime. It's beautiful out, although, be careful when you're out. And I think it's wonderful that we have people from, all over the world participating. I think you guys are very dedicated, awesome teachers and educators and parents. I wish we could all meet in a classroom and share our experiences and our knowledge and our stories. But for now, we'll have to do it through Zoom. Okay, so teaching phonics. This is what we're doing today. Just a little background. I lived in South Korea for 10 years. I worked with eFuture for almost 8 years, and now I'm in the United States, in Wisconsin. We've been in the news lately, not for good reasons. And for my work with eFuture, I got to do some traveling to different parts of Asia, South America, Mexico, Central America. And that was probably my favorite part, was getting to visit all these countries and meet all these different teachers and educators and experience the cultures. I always really enjoyed doing that. This is me in Mexico on maybe one of the hottest days of my life. It was amazing. I also just wanted to say quickly from myself and from eFuture that we just hope everyone's doing okay during these crazy times. I hope you're safe and healthy. I hope your family is safe and healthy. I hope your students are safe and healthy, and just one day at a time. So I hope everyone's okay out there. Okay, so again, more people are coming in. I'm seeing lots of different teachers from different corners of the globe. So anytime if there's a pause, it's because I'm trying to check the Zoom and making sure everything's okay. Today our agenda is just real quick the basics of online teaching and maybe using Zoom, and then I want to talk about phonics, parts of a sample lesson, and then if we have time, questions and answers and comments. Throughout the presentation, if you have questions or comments, you can add them to the chat. Some of my colleagues are in the chat group helping answer the questions, and they'll help you, and I will also try to help you as I do this, answering questions. So you can ask questions in the chat, you can ask direct questions to the panelists, or you could always email us afterwards. Maybe you're Zoom shy, that's fine. There's always a place for questions. The focus today is on phonics. So I want to talk what is phonics, what are the phonics skills, phonics progression, teaching tips, and resources. And before I start, I just want to do a quick poll. Okay, so just take a quick second and just tell me a little bit about your background on phonics. Have you taught phonics before? Oh, no. So number 2 should say, what do you think? What do you think is the most difficult part of teaching phonics? I probably should have taken a grammar webinar myself. And then number 3, how are you doing today? So let's just take a quick second and, just get some feedback from you guys. Again, number 2 should say, what do you think is the most difficult part of teaching phonics? So I see we have a lot of people with experience. Julian, I think it automatically, is that Julian? I think it automatically submits when you click on one. I can see the answers. So have you taught phonics before? 62% have said yes. The most difficult part, speaking for a lot of people. How are you doing today? Great. Good. Good. When is dinner? Good question. I hope it's soon for everybody. Or breakfast, depending on what part of the world you're in. Too tired, too much work. Sorry. Fighting. Okay, so phonics, it's a difficult topic to teach. It's boring for students. Well, hopefully I can help a little bit today with that. And if I can't help, eFuture can help, or your local partners. Somebody will help, I promise. All right, so if you're doing online teaching, there are 2 options. You can do an online class where it's interactive, it's live. Your students are there with you on their computers at their homes. You can use Zoom or Google or Microsoft for this. Or you can simply record your class on your own time and then share it later with your students, and they can watch on their own time. So you have 2 options, and it's just what is best for you. Okay? So if you're raising your hand, I don't know what that means, but if you have a question, make sure you ask it in the chat, okay? If you're going to do online teaching in a sort of live interactive environment, you have, again, 2 options. You can do a webinar, which is like what we're doing right now, where there's one host, lots of people listening and chatting, or you can do a meeting, and this meeting is definitely a better setup for a phonics class. In a meeting format, you can talk to your students, they can answer questions, they can practice speaking together. Okay, so a lot of my activities are kind of designed for a meeting setup where your students are online with you and you can talk back and forth. Okay, so just some basic tips for online teaching. Try to keep your lessons short. I think attention spans online are even shorter. So maybe 10, 15 minutes, take a break, 10, 15 minutes. Keep lessons simple. Try to use lots of visuals and with labels, okay? Try to invite your, not your parents, try to invite your students' parents. This is a nice little classroom management tool. The parent can be there helping the student along, kind of keeping things in order. And then also maybe have students prepare a notebook or a journal next to them. They can take notes, they can write down answers, they can show the answers, a lot of different things. If you're going to use Zoom or Google or Microsoft, make sure you know the platform beforehand. Try to know if your network is capable of hosting an online class. Make sure you understand how to use the mute button when instructing. If you're doing a meeting and you have loud students in different parts, or maybe their background is loud, you can mute them. Decide between videos or not. If you have a huge class, maybe videos is not a good idea. And then make sure you take advantages of the different features, such as polling or questions or the chat group. These are a lot of good things that help. And then maybe you need to create new classroom rules. Okay, so these are things you can share. with your students. No chat while teacher's talking, be on time. You know, these are kind of common classroom rules, but maybe there are some new ones for the online environment. Okay, I can't currently see my chat group, so my colleagues, I hope, are attending to any questions in the chat. I can't see it right now. And this is just the world we live in, the online world. Sometimes you got these little problems that you just need to be patient with. Okay, so if you're going to do an online class, this is kind of the basic setup. Set up your meeting. When is it going to be? Let your students know. Prepare for it. Create your lesson, PowerPoint or Word or whatever. Make sure you know your online resources. What is available? Set up your actual online classroom. My space is this office. Maybe you can use your classroom, but make sure it's comfortable. Make sure it has good lighting and good sound. Okay, now this one's important. If you're going to do a webinar, make sure you put pants on. You know, a lot of people have done webinars. They think, oh, I'll just, you know, I'll dress casually. Then they go stand up and they're very embarrassed. And then finally, get your meeting going. Get your online classroom going. Again, wear pants. This guy forgot he didn't have pants on, was in a meeting, stood up. Oh my God, shocker. Okay, or just sit down. If you just sit down the whole time, you can wear whatever. All right, quick phonics quiz. What English letter is always wet? So I'll let you answer this in the chat. What English letter is always wet? What letter is always surprised? Which letters are always jealous of each other? I wish I could see the chat. Which letter likes honey the most? Okay, so I'll give you guys a second to think about that. I'm just going to all right, so what English letter is always wet? C, like the sea. Which letter is always surprised? O. Which letters are always jealous of each other? N and V. Envy, like jealous. These are top class jokes here. Which letter likes honey the most? B. Bees like honey. Again, these jokes, these are very high level. All right, so let's talk about phonics. Phonics is, I want to give a quick poll. Just give me some feedback. Good jokes, but names of letter. Oh, Julian. Let's talk afterwards. You're too smart for my webinar. Okay, I want you guys to take a second and answer these. Phonics is. What do you think phonics is? Phonics skills include. So take a second and just kind of answer these questions about phonics. The connection between words, letters, and sounds, teaching students how to speak, teaching students how to read. Learning how to read, that's definitely part of it. Phonics skills include all of the above. I see a couple people answering the last one on question 1. Very good. Okay, so what is phonics? Teaching people how to read and write and speak by making connections. That's a very important word. This connection between letters and words and their sounds, usually within an alphabet. So each language might have their own alphabet. You're taking those letters and these words and matching the sounds, okay? The skills students learn are decoding, accuracy, fluency, sight words, although it's not technically a skill, and then basic vocabulary and classroom language. So let's look at this real quick together. What does Dad have? Dad has a map. So if we're looking at this, first you have to start with decoding. I see all of these letters. Some letters are close together. It looks like they might be a word. It's like a code. Okay, I need to have the skills to decode this code. What? Okay, I know that's a word. I know what it means. I can decode that word. So decoding is knowing how these letters work together, what the words are, what they sound like. Accuracy is being able to pronounce them correctly with good intonation. Wat, wat. Okay, that would be poor accuracy. What? Wat dies dude heave. Okay, what does Dad have? Then you start to build in the fluency. Okay, that's kind of reading at a natural speed, seeing the words and quickly knowing what they mean and how to say them. So what does, and then you're helping your students develop that fluency. What does Dad have? Dad has a map. And then in phonics class, you have to include the sight words. Okay, these are the words you don't teach through phonics. You teach them through repeated exposure. Okay, so you just see these words a lot. These are called sight words. Like what, or has, or or does. These are all sight words that students need to see a lot that kind of connect the phonics words. Right, so let's look at this again. My first language is English. So I have the skills to read Dad is mad, Sam is sad. But if we start to use a different language, now I can kind of decode this. I recognize the alphabet. It's the same sounds maybe as English. So my first language is going to help me with Spanish. Papa está enjollado. See? Maybe my accuracy is terrible. My fluency is a little slow. Sam está triste. Triste. Okay, and I think está is a sight word, maybe. But you can see how my first language kind of helps me with these skills. Now we have a new language. Okay, this is less familiar to me, so I'm going to have fewer skills to help. I need to learn more of the phonics. I recognize the words, the letters, but I'm not sure what these symbols mean, so maybe my accuracy and fluency won't be very strong. Bo tien roi, sam buan lam. Okay? So again, my first language helps just a little bit with that. Now here, my first language doesn't help me at all. Okay, I can't do any decoding, no accuracy or fluency, and I don't know any sight words. So this kind of helps you think of what your students are experiencing when you're teaching them phonics. Okay, I think this says 아빠는 화 났어요. 사면 슬프다. Dear future colleagues, don't tease me there for that horrible pronunciation. I apologize. Okay, so you can kind of see how these skills are very important. Wow. So phonics is a journey through the alphabet, vowels, consonants, and blends. A phonics course should, at the low level, with kids with very little experience, start with the alphabet, go into short vowels, then long vowels, consonant blends, and then vowel blends. Okay? So this could be done in a 5-book course, a 4-book course, a 3-book course. But this should be your foundation when teaching and learning phonics. So this phonics progression, how do we teach phonics? What does that look like? I mean, do we just throw them a bunch of words and say, good luck? Or is there kind of a methodology that we need to understand? So here's a basic phonics lesson from a wonderful program, School Phonics by eFuture. And you can start to see kind of a method to the way you should teach. It's a building process. So if our target sound is ap, ad, and am, we start by just focusing on the target sounds, the blending of that. Taking these 2 letters and making a sound. Okay, listening and repeating just with the sound. Then you want to add some fluency and some accuracy, maybe through a chant or a song. But again, you're just focusing on the sounds, the target sounds. Okay, so you're starting to build up. And then you're adding the alphabet, parts of the alphabet that they have already learned to form meaningful words. So we have the target sound, a new sound, and then we have a word. Okay, so we've gone from sounds to words. And then you want to start to mix up the sounds they're learning. Okay, this helps build phonemic awareness to what they're learning. If you don't do this, you get students that become robots and they just say sad, mad, bad, dad, fat, and they don't understand why they're doing it. Okay, so when you have differentiation, it helps students understand, oh, that sounds different than that. Okay, and then you practice that a little more, maybe with a game or a chant. They're getting used to these different sounds and making the connections. And then again, you add more language. The goal of phonics is reading, or that's one of the big goals. So you've gone from sounds to words, now to sentences. And you can see you're starting to build up. So once they've done some sentences, now they can read a story, okay, a very short story. A good program like School Phonics by eFuture should have readers. Okay, this is an excellent way for students to show that they have learned the target sounds. It's a very meaningful activity, and it's very, it builds confidence. And then again, you always end with some writing. Okay. 1 second. Who said? All right, so you kind of see this phonics progression. Starting from sounds, to words, to sentences, to stories. And then when you're teaching phonics, you want to have a good program. You want to have certain materials and resources available. A student book, a workbook, a reader, a teacher's manual that gives you extra activities, maybe some flashcards. And then, you know, an online component, maybe an LCMS system or an app. But these things build into a wonderful program. Then you also have online resources you can always use. Okay, so for example, eFuture, if you go to their YouTube, they have some great tools that will help you with phonics. They have program introductions, activities, how to use our online material, and then even model lessons that you can use. So that's Alana, Sue, and Kevin. Okay, very famous people in South Korea. And then you also, another resource you have is your partners, your distributors. These people will help you with any questions you have, with materials. They'll answer questions. A lot of these companies have education specialists. They'll get you in contact with eFuture if you have questions there. So you have lots of resources. All right. One second. Okay, so a couple things I just want to tell you, some teaching tips. Anytime you do a phonics lesson or activity, I think you can include these tips into any program, any book, any activity. Okay. First, I think it's really important that you always help your students know the chant or the rhythm before you start. Okay. So here we have the app. Make sure they get really comfortable with that. You don't want to spend a lot of time reteaching chants. Okay. So when your book has a chant, make sure they understand that really early, and you can use that throughout. Always keep it simple. Phonics is about connecting sounds and words and letters, okay? So you don't want to confuse your students or stress them out with big vocabulary words or difficult activities or long instructions. If you look at this page, it's very colorful. There's lots of pictures. The instructions are short, and they also include a picture, and the vocabulary is always short. You don't want to make it more difficult than it needs to be. Fluency. Just practice a lot. Do the activity once, do it again. Practice again, review, repeat. I think at a young age, when you're learning a second language like English, fluency really helps build confidence. Okay, so the more you repeat, repetition builds comfort, and comfort builds confidence. So I think that's really helpful for especially young students. Make sure you use the flashcards. Okay, these are great. I don't know if you can see, these are a great classroom tool. I'm not going to use that. Try to build your own flashcard routine. Okay, I like to show them the words, make sure they know what it means, using language, check the voice, do speed, and then review. Okay, so try to build your own flashcard routine. And then always try to use different prompts. Okay, whatever the question may be, let's say it's cap. You can ask your students, okay, spell the word and say the word. C-A-P, cap. First sound, say the word. K, cap. Chant and say the word. K, app, cap. K, app, cap. So different prompts. Use it in a sentence. Say the word. I have a cap. Cap. Okay, so try to use the different prompts. Oops. All right, I'm going to go through just some parts of a sample lesson. I'm going to use a program called School Phonics, but a lot of these activities I think are things you can use in any class, okay, with any book. I'm going to use our online program. It's called ESmart Class. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on how to use ESmart Class, but if you want some background on it, some instruction on it, afterwards go to our YouTube channel, and there's a whole 5-part series of short videos on how to use ESmart Class. Okay, this is an excellent resource when you're using eFuture programs. Okay, 1 second. I'm sorry, let me just check the chat. The chat does not like to pop up when I'm using this. Okay, I'm just checking the chat real quick. I see one question about teaching teens and adults. I mean, obviously with teens and adults, the content might be a little bit different, but you can really use all of these activities for teens and adults. It really depends on the level. And if you look into our chat group, you can see links to our YouTube channel, to eSmart Class, and yes, it is free to use. All right, so I'm going to just open this up real quick. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to reshare. Oops. Oh no, I gotta log in. Okay, 1 second. I just have to log in. So right now I'm just accessing our online. Okay, now I'm here. God, look at that crazy hair. Okay, so right now you can see the screen. I am in our what's called eSmart Class. It's our learner-centered LCMS. Learner-centered, oh my gosh, management system. That doesn't matter. The important thing is it's called eSmart Class. It's eFutures. It's a great tool. And we're just going to go through a couple pages together. Okay, so I'm going to do Unit 2. Now, I'm not going to show you how to do the activities on the page. I think those are very straightforward. What I'm going to show you is just some extra things you can do afterwards. Okay? So, for example, on the first page, the goal is kind of the blending, learning the target sounds. They'll do a chant. I hope you can hear this.
Hello, everybody. Let's begin. App, 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 app. Add, add. Add, m. Terrific.
Okay, so you can see that they're starting to learn the chant. Now, there are some different ways you can practice doing that. Okay, so one thing I like to do is I like to cut out the letters. So we're going to practice. This is an A. I want you to practice at home right now. So we're going to practice blending. So practice what we just saw in the chant. A. Let's do, and this is a D. So, That's a D. It's kind of a weird looking D. At, at, and you bring them together. Okay? So you can use these in your online class and students can practice. Okay, ready? Are you saying this at home? Now you can sort of, mix it up with the students. You can say, all right, students, do it slow. Am. Okay? You can start to mix it up. So, oops. Make sure that, now this is a good thing actually. Again, you don't want your students to be robots. So sometimes mix it up and make sure they're paying attention. You can do this. Okay? If they say it, barbecue. Somebody asked if they're barbecue forks. No, they're actually, ooh, that's not clean. They're fondue forks. Good. Very observant, Julian. Okay? So try to use these. Now you can also have students use their own hands. So, app, app. Or you can use your fingers. App, app. And then later you can build on that. Now, if I was teaching online class, I would show my students how to do that. And then I would be careful with... Yes, that is a very good tip. During these crazy times, make sure your fingers are clean. Okay? But I would tell my students, go show somebody in your house. Go show somebody in your apartment. Teach somebody. And then you can bring them on and you can share together. Okay? So try to find different ways to blend sounds. So what's this? You can do it slow, fast, together, okay? Another thing that's important early on is making sure they listen. So in the chat group, I want you to listen and type the target sound you hear. Okay, let me go back to, so I want you to listen and type. Now, if this was a smaller group, and you're in a meeting format, your students could participate by speaking. But since this is a big group, I want you to listen and type. App. Add. Add. App. Good. Okay, another thing you can do, because a lot of phonics is sort of the movements your mouth makes. So I'm not going to say it, I'm just going to mouth it. Okay, are you ready? Good. Good. Is that a little creepy? I feel like I'm doing the whispering thing right now. Anyways, your students will appreciate it. Okay, so again, anytime you're using phonics, sometimes it's good to really show the mouth structure, especially if there's an RL problem. It helps to realize, is there vibrations? Is there air coming out? Where does the tongue go? That can really help, okay? Yes, the sound mechanism. Danny. So our friend Danny from Bogota should be running these himself. You know it, Danny. All right, let's go back to the ebook. So again, at the beginning, you're starting to practice the chanting, blending, getting comfortable with that. Okay, and then again, you're building this into words. Okay, so we have some new target sounds.
D, am, dam. D, am, dam. J, am, jam.
All right, so now they're taking their target sounds, they're adding more letters and building onto words. Okay, so one activity that my colleague came up with, he's kind of a tennis nut. He loves tennis. I think he thinks Nadal is the best. I think Federer. But he came up with something called Phonics Tennis. Okay, and this is a good activity for practicing with a partner or in a big group. But you're taking that blending, so you're going to say d, add, dad. That was my turn. Now I'm going to pass it to my partner. D, add. I'm going to say a new one. App, app. Now I have to think of a new word. App, map. App, map. Now I'm going to throw it back to him. Am. Okay. D, am, damn. T, am, damn. App. And they keep going back and forth. All right. So it's kind of a nice way for you to do it, called Phonics Tennis. Oh, I'm going to stay here for a second, actually. Flashcards. Flashcards are a great tool, okay? But they can be a bad tool if used inappropriately. So, what's this? Tap. Hang on, I'm just going to tap. Map. Dam. So I'll go a little slower. Jam. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, try to build your own phonics routine with flashcards. What I like to do, first make sure they know the word, okay? And then I like to build language into it. So, jam. J-am, jam. I can say spell the word. What's the first sound? J. What's the initial sound? Am. Sorry, J. Then you can start to build in some basic language. What color is it? Do you eat this? Do you put this on a hot dog? Do you put this on pizza? Okay, so you're taking this, you're adding some basic language, you're making connections. Spell this. T-A-P. T. Okay. Good, Julian. Map. Now, I like to try to use my voice too. So, now I want you to practice on your end. If it's up here, you're going to use a high voice, low voice, slow, fast. Okay? High voice, low voice, map. 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 Map, map, map. Your turn. I can't hear you. Louder. Damn. 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 Okay? So you're trying to build in voice with the activities. You can also start from the back. Can you read that? Is that backwards? Sorry, this is damn. So this stops, this holds in water, you know. You can start from the back. They can draw it, you can ask them to show me map, and then the students can be like, okay, show me cap. Okay, show me cat. Show me cat. Now this is a good way for students to you can really check if they know what the word means. All right, so try to build your own flashcard routine. I like to also use, have you guys done Kung Fu Phonics before? Maybe some of you have. Kung Fu Phonics is a fun activity because it gets the kids standing. Okay, so I'm going to go to my PowerPoint. No, I'll do this now. No, I'm going to use my PowerPoint. So Kung Fu Phonics, you take each target sound. So we have app, add, am. And then you add a motion. Is the video working right now? Can you see me? I don't know. I'm going to assume you can see me. So, app. Then you do the motion. Act, add, act, add. Am, am. Okay? So you build in these different movements. It kind of adds a little bit of TPR. It gets the kids moving, and then they can practice. So, app, lap. App, lap. Kung Fu Phonics. Am, jam. Am, jam. Kung Fu Phonics. Okay? So it's just kind of a fun way to connect the sounds with some movements. You know, it gets the kids moving around a little bit. Okay, let me go back to share screen. All right, so all right, now again, you start to build in these chants. Here's another chant.
Everybody get ready. Let's chant. App, 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 cat. App, lap. App, map. App, tap. Cap, lap. Map, tap.
Add, add dad, add sad, dad sad, sad dad.
Sad dad.
Am, am, dam, am, jam. Damn, jam.
Jam.
Dam. Excellent.
So we've learned this new chant. Hang on, let me just get back to. Okay, so a good way to build in the vocabulary, and this is another activity you can learn from YouTube. I think Sue made a video. Is bring in some real things for your students. Okay, what's in the bag? Teacher, what's in the bag? Dad is sad and there's a jam clock. Oh, Julian, if this is the Julian I know. All right, so I'm going to pull out an object and I want you to practice a phonics prompt, a chant. So you can just type this time. But first word, I want you to say initial sound, target sound, and then the word. So I want you to type this out. So if it's for example, am, dam. I want you to type that out. Are you ready? First one, what's in the bag? What is it? Good. Remember, try to use the jar. It is a jar. That's true. But jam. Try to use the target prompt. Am, jam. Okay? Hang on. Next one. Okay, good. At cat. Now, this is a review from a previous lesson. So it's good to build in the old words, bring them into the lesson, and practice and review. If you have a dog at home, I suggest you buy this. It really scares your dog, okay? This thing's terrifying. Last one. Okay, again, initial sound, target sound, word. At cat. What's this one? This is dad or man. Dad or man. Or, if you really know who this is, what's his name? Dwight. Add, dad. Okay, so try to bring in real objects. App, cap, map. Okay, another thing I like to do is with my students, I like to use these cups. Okay, so add, app, am. Okay, so we have 3, 2, 1, and now let me go back. I can say, let's start with this. I'm going to put this in a cup. I'm going to mix it up, and then you tell me what target sound it's under. You ready? Okay, where is the object? Now, if this was a classroom, you'd have your students say it. But since this is online, is it am, add, app? Very good. All right, one more. Ready? Okay, which one is it? Am, add, app. Oh, you guys are too good. Very good. Okay, so you can kind of build these into your lesson. Just these little activities, you make it a little more interactive. The goal, all you're doing is getting kids to practice, repeat, get better at it. All right, so let me just go back to the and then as you move forward, you can start to practice more of the reading. And anytime you're doing a reading activity, you focus on the phonics, but you also try to use the reading cycle. We have a webinar on that. Let me just really quick show you. Okay, and then when you're done, you can practice using a story. Now here you can use phonics activities or just basic reading activities. Where's the ice cream? Type yes if you love ice cream. Oh my God, ice cream. Or type, what is your favorite ice cream? Mine is mint Oreo. So you see we have the target sounds. Pam. Am is at the mall. And you can practice reading. And this is really wonderful because it proves to students that learning phonics is meaningful. They're taking what they learned in the lesson and they're reading an actual story. They're reading a book. And that's just a wonderful thing for students to do. Okay? All right. Choco mint, Teresa, yes. Vanilla, strawberry, that's healthy. And yes, you can adapt these to any level, okay? All you're doing in phonics is Irish coffee, very good. Okay, so oopsies. So when you're choosing a phonics program, make sure that it's got resources that help. eFuture has a lot of different resources that can help you when you're trying to teach phonics or any subject. We have the eFuture website. All of these things will be shared. We have the ESmart Class. We have a Facebook page. It gives you updates. It gives you information about our webinars. It gives you activity ideas. And then we have a lot of great stuff on YouTube. Okay, we've really started to build up the YouTube channel with activities, model lessons, programs, lots of other stuff. And then again, you can always use your distributors if you have questions, your partners. They're very helpful. And they're always willing to kind of answer your questions or help you out when needed. Okay, so that hour went by very fast, very quickly. We have some more webinars coming up. Always check our Facebook page for updates. I think it's so cool that you guys are all here today and joined, and I really hope you learned something from it. If you have any questions, you can always email me. You can email anybody at eFuture. Actually, they're probably better to email. They're a lot smarter than I am. And, you know, we're always here to help. So I wish I could get the chat to work. I just want to say thank you again for everybody attending. It's just wonderful that there's so many teachers out there that are putting in the time to improve, to learn new things. You know, education's so important, and really appreciate it, okay? Again, any follow-up questions, just find us. We're all over the internet, willing to help, okay? So I'm seeing all the very nice messages. Thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you next time, okay? See you guys next time. I'm going to end the session. You are all awesome.